Sure, numbers can be scary, but they also can be very helpful. They can point you to the future. They can point you, to see focus your mind on what you really should be worrying about. I mean, our gut tells us really what to do a lot of times in life, but sometimes it's hard to get the big picture, of what's really going on everywhere, because we're all pretty parochial in what we're doing with and who we know and what's going on, and that influences us sometimes a little too much. So take a look at these stats here. Suicide statistics just came out from the Center for Disease Control. Okay, look at that. There's more suicides in this country now than car deaths. Right. So suicides this year, 36,909 suicides this year. And auto deaths, only 30,000. Look, we've done something with auto. I remember we used to be 50,000. I was driving a lot less miles and things like that. So now we're at 36,000 suicides, but we have laws for people to ride, have seatbelts, right? But nobody wants to put in laws to lock up a gun, do we? People killing themselves. So maybe we want to save lives. We should think about, suicides more than automobiles. Here's another interesting fact in the suicide data. More men, but not only more men, like almost 3-4 times as many men than women commit suicides. It's 27 out of 100,000 men commit suicide versus only 8 for women. I always thought women had an edge on what life is all about and figured this out, maybe because they have babies or whatever, but they have a better sense of what life is, I think, than us stupid guys. Here's another interesting thing. Now suicide rate is going up so high in this country. There's something going on, right? If suicide is increasing, and look at this data. From 1999 to 2010, okay, so that's about 10 years, suicide went from 8th on the list of leading cause of death for men, people of middle age, to 4th. So suicide is now the 4th cause of death for middle-aged people, 4th. Wow, it used to be 8th just 10 years ago. So it went from 8th to 4th. So something's really happening. I mean, people aren't comfortable or something. I mean, there's a lot of worry. We have to take this, it sounds like, a little more seriously than we have in the past. So that's interesting data to me. Okay, look at this about the middle class. What's happening to the middle class? Okay, 59% of Americans are worried they will fall out of the middle class. So that's over half. Half the people who are in the middle class now feel that they're not going to be middle class anymore. They're not going up, they're going to be going down. So that's obviously a function of how people feel optimistic, right? So they don't feel that they're going to grow in this country anymore, that they're going to go backwards. And that's really happened to a lot of people, unfortunately. Here, 80% believe more have fallen out of the middle class than have moved into it in the past few years. So this is the recession going on. So I mean, that's a lot, but 80% believe that there's more people falling out of the middle class and down into poverty than those who went the other way. Okay, who's responsible for making it worse for the middle class? Okay, here are the people that the survey found that are blamed for people not making it in the middle class anymore. Number one, Congress. Those guys haven't done anything in a long time, have they? The CEOs of major corporations. Okay, that's the capitalist system, right? And guess who else? Big financial institutions. Yeah, I don't know. I think we found maybe the limits of capitalism. Capitalism's awfully good. I love using it and things like that. But maybe not for everything, right? And that should maybe be discussed a little more. Because, look, you have everybody blaming those 3 factors for why people are leaving the middle class. And 85% of the middle class believe it's more difficult now than a decade ago to maintain their standard of living. So they believe now it's harder to just stay even than ever before. I know, I mean, I keep looking at data, that show like a 30-year-old guy now makes, like 20-30% less than when I was 30 years old. That's just average. So we're not doing too well in creating opportunities and growth in this country. You know, there's a lot of reasons for it, but we should start making changes, I would think. At least something, we gotta do something, just not pretend it's gonna go away and everything's okay. We should just get more of the same thing. I mean, that's silly. If you're playing a losing hand, man, you just don't keep playing it. You gotta change the game. At least you don't know if it's right, but you know what you're doing now ain't right. So that's the only thing you have to know, is that what you're doing now is not right. You don't have to be positive about what is right. You take your best shot, your best guess, and see what happens.